Tonight, we embark on a journey into the wild, into the forests and mountains, where shadows move between the trees, where howls echo across valleys, and where one of nature's most extraordinary creatures roams. Tonight, we explore the hidden world of wolves. Misunderstood for centuries, feared in folklore, and nearly driven to extinction, wolves are far more complex, intelligent, and essential than most people realize. They are creatures of deep family bonds, sophisticated communication, and remarkable intelligence. They are architects of entire ecosystems, engineers of biodiversity, and survivors against all odds. If you enjoy these quiet explorations into the natural world, I invite you to like and subscribe, or share a thought down in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is rest, settle in, and allow the fascinating world of wolves to carry you gently towards sleep. Let's begin. The wolf is larger and more powerful than most people imagine. When you picture a wolf, you might think of a creature similar in size to a large dog. But wolves are magnificent in their proportions, far exceeding most domestic breeds. An adult male grey wolf can measure anywhere from 4.5 feet to 6.5 feet in length, measured from the tip of its nose all the way to the end of its bushy tail. Some individuals grow even larger. Female wolves are slightly smaller, typically ranging from 4.5 to 6 feet, but they are no less impressive. In terms of weight, wolves vary considerably depending on their geographic location. In the far northern reaches of Canada and Alaska, where winters are brutally cold and prey animals are large, wolves have evolved to be bigger and more robust. A male in these regions typically weighs between 80 and 140 pounds, though exceptional individuals have been recorded at over 170 pounds. These northern giants are built for survival in harsh climates. Their bodies are powerfully muscled, their chests deep and broad, allowing them to travel through deep snow and take down prey many times their own size. In more temperate regions, wolves tend to be smaller. Those living in the forests of the lower 48 states, in places like Minnesota or Montana, usually weigh between 50 and 90 pounds. But regardless of their size, all wolves share certain physical traits that make them supremely adapted predators. Their legs are long and strong, designed for covering vast distances. Their paws are large, with thick pads that provide traction on ice and snow. Each paw spreads wide when the wolf steps down, distributing weight and allowing them to walk across snow that would swallow a human. A wolf's bite is extraordinarily powerful. The jaws of a wolf are among the most formidable in the animal kingdom. When a wolf bites down, it exerts a force of approximately 400 pounds per square inch. To put that in perspective, that is roughly twice the bite force of a large domestic dog. This crushing power allows wolves to crack through the bones of elk and moose, accessing nutrient-rich marrow that other predators cannot reach. Their teeth are perfectly designed for their lifestyle. The canines are long and slightly curved, ideal for gripping and holding struggling prey. Behind these are the carnassial teeth, sharp and blade-like, which work like scissors to shear through tough hide and sinew. Wolves do not waste any part of their kill. After bringing down large prey, they consume almost everything, from muscle and organs to bones and hide. This efficiency is born of necessity. In the wild, meals are not guaranteed, and wolves must make the most of every opportunity. A large elk can feed a pack for several days, but there are times when hunting fails repeatedly, and the pack goes hungry. During these lean periods, wolves can lose significant body weight, sometimes as much as 10 or 15 pounds in a matter of weeks. But they are resilient, capable of bouncing back quickly once food becomes available again. Wolves have extraordinary endurance and can travel incredible distances. One of the most remarkable aspects of wolf biology is their stamina. Wolves are built for endurance, not speed. While they can sprint at speeds of up to 35 or 40 miles per hour for short bursts, their true strength lies in their ability to maintain a steady pace for hours on end. A wolf can trot at 5 or 6 miles per hour for an entire day without tiring, covering distances that would exhaust most other animals. In fact, wolves have been known to travel more than 30 miles in a single day while hunting or patrolling their territory. This endurance is essential to their survival. Wolves live in some of the most expansive and rugged landscapes on Earth, from the frozen tundra of the Arctic to the dense forests of Europe and Asia. Their territories can range from 50 square miles in areas with abundant prey to over 1,000 square miles in regions where food is scarce. To patrol these vast areas, to hunt successfully, and to defend their territory from rival packs, wolves must be tireless travelers. They move through their world with a loping, efficient gait that conserves energy while covering ground. Watching a wolf move across the landscape is to witness a creature perfectly adapted to its environment. Every muscle working in harmony, every step purposeful. Their fur is a marvel of natural engineering. A wolf's coat is not just beautiful, it is a critical survival tool. Wolves have 2 layers of fur, each serving a specific purpose. The outer layer consists of long, coarse guard hairs that repel water and snow. These hairs can be up to 5 or 6 inches long, and they give the wolf its characteristic shaggy appearance. Beneath the guard hairs lies a dense undercoat of soft, fine fur that traps air and provides insulation. This double-layered system is so effective that wolves can sleep comfortably in temperatures as low as -40 degrees Fahrenheit. They simply curl up, tuck their noses under their tails, and let the snow pile up around them. The snow acts as an additional layer of insulation, creating a small shelter that retains body heat. The color of a wolf's fur varies widely, depending on the subspecies and geographic location. Gray wolves, as their name suggests, are often various shades of gray, mixed with brown, black, and white. But wolves can also be pure white, especially in the Arctic, where their pale coats provide camouflage against the snow. In forested regions, wolves tend to be darker, with coats ranging from charcoal gray to nearly black. Some wolves are a rich, tawny brown, while others have coats of mixed colors that make each individual unique. This variation is not just aesthetic, it serves a purpose in helping wolves blend into their surroundings, whether they are hunting on open tundra or moving through shadowed forests. Wolves shed their thick winter coats in spring. As the seasons change and temperatures rise, wolves undergo a dramatic transformation. In late spring and early summer, they shed their thick undercoat in preparation for warmer weather. This shedding is extensive. Clumps of fur come loose and drift away on the wind, sometimes catching on branches and bushes as the wolf moves through its territory. During this period, a wolf can look ragged and patchy, almost comical compared to its sleek winter appearance. But this shedding is essential. Without it, the wolf would overheat during the summer months. By autumn, a new undercoat begins to grow in, preparing the wolf for the cold months ahead. This annual cycle of shedding and regrowth is perfectly timed to the rhythm of the seasons. The eyes of a wolf are adapted for hunting in low light. Wolves are crepuscular and nocturnal hunters, meaning they are most active during the twilight hours of dawn and dusk, and throughout the night. To thrive in these conditions, their eyes have evolved remarkable adaptations. Like many predators, wolves have a layer of tissue behind the retina called the tapetum lucidum. This reflective layer bounces light back through the retina a second time, effectively doubling the amount of light available to the photoreceptor cells. This is why wolf eyes appear to glow when caught in a beam of light at night. The glow is not the eye producing light, but rather reflecting it. This adaptation gives wolves exceptional night vision, far superior to that of humans. They can detect movement and shapes in conditions so dark that a person would be nearly blind. However, this comes with a trade-off. Wolves do not see colors as vividly as humans do. Their vision is more attuned to detecting motion and contrasts in light and shadow. This makes sense for a predator that hunts in dim conditions, where the ability to spot a fleeing deer in the twilight is more important than discerning whether a leaf is green or yellow. Their sense of smell is more powerful than we can comprehend. If vision is one of the wolf's strengths, smell is its superpower. A wolf's sense of smell is estimated to be 100 times more sensitive than that of a human. The part of their brain dedicated to processing scent information is proportionally much larger than ours. Wolves live in a world of smells, a landscape painted not in colors but in a complex tapestry of odors that tell them everything they need to know about their environment. Through scent, a wolf can detect prey from distances of more than a mile away, depending on wind conditions. They can determine whether another wolf has passed through an area hours or even days earlier. They can identify individuals by scent, distinguishing between pack members and strangers. They can even assess the health and reproductive status of other wolves through chemical signals in urine and feces. This olfactory world is so rich and detailed that it is almost impossible for humans to imagine. Every tree, every rock, every patch of ground carries information. Wolves navigate this world with their noses as much as with their eyes. Wolves mark their territory with scent. Territory is everything to a wolf pack. It represents access to food, denning sites, and the space needed to raise pups. To establish and defend these territories, wolves engage in elaborate scent marking behavior. They urinate on prominent landmarks such as trees, rocks, and trail junctions, creating a chemical boundary that warns rival packs to stay away. These scent marks are not random. They are strategically placed along the edges of the territory and refreshed regularly, sometimes daily. Both male and female wolves participate in scent marking, though the breeding pair, often called the alpha male and alpha female, do most of the marking. When a wolf urinates, it lifts its leg high, directing the stream as high up on the object as possible. This elevated placement helps the scent carry farther on the wind and makes it more noticeable to other wolves passing through. In addition to urine, wolves also use feces to mark territory. They may deposit scat in highly visible locations, such as the middle of a trail, as an unmistakable sign of ownership. Interestingly, wolves can read these scent marks like a bulletin board, gathering information about the individuals who left them. The age of the mark, the health and dominance status of the wolf, and even whether the pack is nearby or has moved on can all be gleaned from a simple sniff. This system of chemical communication is so effective that it helps reduce direct confrontations between packs. Most of the time, if a wolf encounters the scent marks of a rival pack, it will turn back rather than risk a violent encounter. Hearing is another of the wolf's finely tuned senses. Wolves have excellent hearing, capable of detecting sounds from distances of up to 6 miles away in open terrain. Their ears are large and mobile, able to swivel independently to pinpoint the source of a sound with remarkable precision. This acute hearing is essential for hunting. Wolves can hear the faint rustle of a mouse moving beneath the snow or the snap of a twig as a deer shifts its weight. These subtle sounds provide critical information that can mean the difference between a successful hunt and going hungry. Hearing also plays a vital role in communication within the pack. Wolves produce a wide range of vocalizations, from howls and barks to growls and whines, each carrying specific meaning. The ability to hear and interpret these sounds over long distances allows pack members to coordinate their movements, even when separated by miles of forest or tundra. A wolf's world is as much auditory as it is visual and olfactory, a rich sensory tapestry that humans can only dimly perceive. Wolves are highly intelligent and capable of problem-solving. Intelligence in animals is difficult to measure, but by any standard, wolves rank among the most cognitively advanced mammals. They demonstrate problem-solving abilities, adaptability, and social learning that rival those of primates. Wolves can learn from experience, adjust their hunting strategies based on the behavior of prey, and even deceive other animals to gain an advantage. In controlled studies, wolves have shown the ability to understand cause and effect, to work cooperatively, to solve complex tasks, and to innovate new behaviors when faced with novel challenges. In the wild, this intelligence manifests in countless ways. Wolves will test the defenses of prey herds, probing for weaknesses and selecting the most vulnerable individuals. They will alter their hunting tactics depending on the terrain, the type of prey, and the size of their pack. They remember the locations of successful kills and return to areas where prey is likely to be found. This cognitive flexibility is one of the reasons wolves have been able to survive in such a wide range of environments. From deserts to Arctic ice, wolves communicate through a complex language of body postures. Long before a wolf makes a sound, it is communicating. The position of its ears, the angle of its tail, the way it holds its body. All of these signals convey information to other wolves. A dominant wolf stands tall, ears erect, tail held high, and gaze direct. This posture broadcasts confidence and authority. A subordinate wolf, by contrast, lowers its body, tucks its tail between its legs, flattens its ears, and avoids direct eye contact. These submissive gestures are a way of saying, "I acknowledge your rank. I am not a threat." Wolves also use facial expressions to communicate. A snarl, with lips pulled back to expose teeth, is a clear warning. A play bow, with front legs stretched forward and rear end raised, is an invitation to romp and wrestle. Even subtle shifts in posture can carry meaning within the pack. This silent language is essential for maintaining order and cohesion in a group where cooperation is everything. The tail of a wolf is an especially expressive tool. A wolf's tail is not just for balance, it is a key component of their communication system. The position and movement of the tail can convey a wide range of emotions and intentions. A tail held high and wagging slowly indicates confidence and alertness. A tail tucked tightly against the belly signals fear or submission. A tail held straight out behind the wolf suggests focus and intent, often seen during a hunt. When wolves greet each other after a separation, tails wag enthusiastically, much like those of domestic dogs, expressing excitement and affection. Interestingly, the tail also serves a practical function. During cold weather, wolves curl up and drape their bushy tails over their noses and faces, protecting these sensitive areas from frostbite. The tail acts like a built-in scarf, trapping warm air and providing an extra layer of insulation. This dual role, as both a communication tool and a survival aid, highlights the elegant efficiency of wolf anatomy. Wolves form deep family bonds that last a lifetime. At the heart of wolf society is the family. A wolf pack is not a random collection of individuals thrown together by circumstance. It is a family unit, typically consisting of a breeding pair and their offspring from multiple years. The breeding pair, often referred to as the alpha male and alpha female, are usually the only wolves in the pack that reproduce. The other members are their children, ranging from pups just a few months old to adult wolves several years old who have not yet left to form their own packs. This family structure is critical to the pack's success. Older siblings help care for and teach younger pups, creating a culture of cooperation and shared responsibility. The bonds between pack members are strong and enduring. Wolves play together, hunt together, sleep curled up against one another for warmth, and mourn when a member dies. There are documented cases of wolves refusing to leave the body of a fallen pack mate, lingering for days in a display of what can only be described as grief. These bonds are reinforced through constant social interaction. Wolves greet each other with nuzzles and licks, especially around the face and muzzle. They engage in playful wrestling and chasing, behaviors that strengthen relationships and maintain pack cohesion. Even adult wolves, formidable predators capable of taking down animals many times their size, retain a playful, almost puppy-like quality when interacting with family members. This duality, fierce and tender, predator and caregiver, is one of the most fascinating aspects of wolf behavior. The alpha wolf concept is widely misunderstood. The term alpha wolf has entered popular culture, often used to describe dominant, aggressive individuals in human society. But the truth about wolf pack dynamics is far more nuanced. The idea of the alpha wolf as a tyrannical leader who maintains control through aggression and intimidation is largely a myth, born from studies of captive wolves in the mid-20th century. These captive wolves, unrelated individuals forced to live together in artificial conditions, did indeed form dominance hierarchies, characterized by frequent conflict. However, research on wild wolf packs, conducted over decades by scientists like Dr. David Mech, has revealed a very different picture. In the wild, the so-called alpha pair are simply the parents. Their authority comes not from aggression, but from their role as mother and father. Just as human parents guide and provide for their children, wolf parents lead their offspring. The pack follows them not out of fear, but out of familial loyalty and the natural deference that young wolves show to their elders. This distinction is important. It changes our understanding of wolf society from one based on dominance and coercion to one based on cooperation and family bonds. The breeding pair may occasionally assert authority, disciplining a misbehaving pup or settling a dispute, but such interactions are usually brief and mild. Most of the time, the pack operates through cooperation, with each member contributing to the group's success. Young wolves eventually leave their birth pack to find mates and establish their own territories. As wolves mature, usually between the ages of 1 and 3 years, they face a critical life decision. They can remain with their birth pack, helping to raise younger siblings and living under the authority of their parents, or they can strike out on their own in search of a mate and territory. This departure, known as dispersal, is a dangerous and uncertain journey. Dispersing wolves become lone wolves, traveling through unfamiliar landscapes without the protection and support of a pack. They face threats from rival packs, whose territories they must cross. They must find enough food to sustain themselves, a difficult task for a solitary hunter. And they must locate an available mate, another dispersing wolf or a lone individual from a distant pack. Despite the risks, dispersal is essential for the health of wolf populations. It prevents inbreeding and allows wolves to colonize new areas. Some dispersing wolves travel astonishing distances. There are records of individual wolves traveling more than 500 miles from their birth pack, crossing mountains, rivers, and even highways in their search for a new home. When two dispersing wolves of opposite sexes meet and bond, they form the nucleus of a new pack. Together, they select a territory, establish scent boundaries, and eventually produce pups of their own. In this way, the cycle continues, and wolf populations spread across the landscape. Wolf pups are born in the spring, helpless and vulnerable. After a gestation period of about 63 days, the alpha female gives birth to a litter of pups, usually numbering between 4 and 6, though litters can be as small as 1 or as large as 11. The pups are born in a den, which the mother has carefully prepared in the weeks leading up to the birth. Dens are typically located in secluded areas, away from human activity and potential threats. They might be dug into the side of a hill, hidden among rocks, or located in a hollow beneath the roots of a large tree. Some wolf packs return to the same den site year after year, while others choose new locations each spring. At birth, wolf pups are tiny, weighing only about 1 pound. They are blind, deaf, and completely helpless, unable to regulate their own body temperature. For the first few weeks of life, they rely entirely on their mother for warmth, food, and protection. The mother rarely leaves the den during this period, nursing her pups and keeping them clean. Meanwhile, the rest of the pack provides for her, bringing her food and standing guard against potential threats. By the time the pups are about 2 weeks old, their eyes begin to open, revealing bright blue irises that will later change to the golden or amber color, typical of adult wolves. Their ears unseal shortly after, and they begin to hear the world around them. At 3 to 4 weeks, the pups take their first wobbly steps outside the den, exploring the immediate area under the watchful eyes of their mother and other pack members. These early explorations are brief and cautious, but they mark the beginning of the pup's education in what it means to be a wolf. The entire pack participates in raising the pups. One of the most remarkable aspects of wolf society is the communal care of pups. While the mother is the primary caregiver during the first weeks, once the pups begin to venture outside the den, the entire pack becomes involved in their upbringing. Older siblings, aunts, and uncles all play a role. They bring food to the pups, regurgitating partially digested meat that is easier for the young wolves to eat. They engage the pups in play, teaching them valuable lessons about coordination, social hierarchy, and communication. They protect the pups from danger, standing guard while the little ones sleep or explore. This cooperative care is one of the reasons wolf packs are so successful. By sharing the burden of raising the next generation, the pack ensures that even if something happens to one of the parents, the pups will still have a chance to survive. It also allows the pups to learn from multiple teachers, absorbing different skills and strategies from various pack members. A pup might learn stealth and patience from one sibling, bold aggression from another, and gentleness and care from a third. This diversity of experience enriches the pup's education and prepares them for the challenges of life in the wild. Pups grow rapidly, and by autumn are nearly full-sized. Wolf pups grow at an astonishing rate. Fed on a rich diet of meat and milk, they gain weight quickly. By the time they are 2 months old, they weigh around 10 to 15 pounds. By 4 months, they can weigh 30 to 40 pounds. By their first autumn, just 6 months after birth, they are nearly as large as adult wolves, though they still lack the muscle mass and experience of their elders. This rapid growth is essential because winter is coming, and the pups must be strong enough to survive the harsh months ahead. During the summer and early autumn, the pups engage in constant play. They wrestle with each other, chase their tails, pounce on leaves and sticks, and stalk insects. To the casual observer, this might seem like pointless frivolity, but play serves a crucial purpose. Through play, pups develop the physical coordination and strength they will need for hunting. They learn the social rules of the pack, understanding which behaviors are acceptable and which will be met with discipline. They begin to establish their own personalities. Some pups naturally more dominant and assertive, others more cautious and submissive. These early interactions lay the foundation for their roles in the pack as they mature. By winter, the pups join the pack on hunts. As autumn turns to winter and prey animals become more difficult to find, the pups graduate from playful apprentices to active participants in the hunt. At first, they are clumsy and ineffective, more hindrance than help. They lack the stamina to keep up with the adults on long chases. They do not yet understand the subtle strategies and coordinated movements that make a hunt successful, but they learn quickly. By watching their parents and older siblings, by making mistakes and adjusting, they begin to develop the skills that will one day make them effective hunters. The first time a young wolf successfully brings down prey is a milestone. It might be a small animal, a rabbit, or a beaver, but the experience is transformative. The pup learns the thrill of the chase, the satisfaction of a successful hunt, and the taste of fresh meat earned through its own effort. From that point forward, the pup is no longer just a dependent child. It is becoming a hunter, a provider, a full member of the pack. By their second winter, most young wolves are skilled enough to contribute meaningfully to the pack's hunts, and the cycle of learning and teaching continues with the next generation. Wolves are primarily hunters of large ungulates. When we think of wolves, we often imagine them hunting deer, elk, moose, and caribou. This image is largely accurate. In most ecosystems, large ungulates, hoofed mammals, make up the bulk of a wolf's diet. These animals provide substantial calories, enough to feed a pack for several days. However, hunting such large and powerful prey is incredibly challenging. An adult moose can weigh over 1,000 pounds and stands 6 feet tall at the shoulder. It has long, powerful legs tipped with sharp hooves that can deliver devastating kicks. Elk and bison are similarly formidable. A single kick from one of these animals can shatter a wolf's ribs or skull, killing it instantly. Because of these dangers, wolves have evolved sophisticated hunting strategies. They do not simply chase down the first animal they see. Instead, they test their prey, watching for signs of weakness, illness, injury, or age. A healthy adult elk in its prime is nearly impossible for wolves to kill. But a calf separated from its mother, an elderly individual with arthritis, or an animal weakened by disease, presents a more viable target. Wolves are opportunistic, constantly assessing their options and choosing the path of least resistance. Wolves hunt cooperatively, using tactics and teamwork. A wolf pack hunting large prey is a marvel of coordination and strategy. The pack does not rush in recklessly. Instead, they approach with patience and intelligence. Often, the hunt begins with the pack spreading out, moving through the forest or across the tundra in search of prey. When they locate a herd, they observe from a distance, studying the animal's behavior. Are they young, injured, sick? The wolves look for any sign of vulnerability. Once a target is selected, the pack moves into position. Some wolves may circle around to cut off escape routes. Others hang back, ready to give chase if the prey flees. The attack itself is usually a test. Wolves rush at the herd, causing panic and scattering the animals. In the chaos, the wolves look for individuals that stumble, lag behind, or show signs of weakness. If the entire herd is strong and cohesive, the wolves may abandon the chase, unwilling to waste energy on a likely futile effort. But if an animal separates or falters, the wolves press the attack. The chase can last for miles. Wolves do not rely on bursts of speed like cheetahs. Instead, they use their endurance, maintaining a relentless pace that gradually wears down their prey. As the targeted animal tires, the wolves close in. They work together, some snapping at the animal's hindquarters to slow it down, others lunging for the throat or nose. The goal is to bring the animal to the ground, where it can be quickly dispatched. This teamwork is essential. A lone wolf would struggle to bring down a healthy elk or moose, but a coordinated pack can accomplish what no individual could. Not every hunt is successful. Despite their skill and cooperation, wolves fail far more often than they succeed. Studies of wolf hunting behavior have found that success rates vary widely, depending on the type of prey, the terrain, and the condition of the pack. In some cases, wolves succeed in only 1 out of every 10 hunting attempts. When hunting large, healthy animals like adult moose or bison, the success rate can drop even lower. This means that wolves must hunt frequently, testing prey over and over, accepting failure as part of their lives. When a hunt fails, the pack regroups and tries again. There is no frustration, no despair. Wolves are patient and persistent. They understand, in their own way, that survival is a numbers game. If they keep trying, eventually they will succeed. And when they do, the reward is substantial. A single elk can provide hundreds of pounds of meat, enough to sustain the pack for days. During times of abundance, wolves may gorge themselves, eating up to 20 pounds of meat in a single sitting. This feast or famine lifestyle is typical of apex predators in the wild. Wolves also eat smaller prey when necessary. While large ungulates are the preferred prey, wolves are highly adaptable and will eat almost anything they can catch. During the summer months, when large prey is more difficult to hunt due to the animals being in peak condition, wolves supplement their diet with smaller animals. They catch beavers, rabbits, rodents, and ground-nesting birds. They will eat fish if they can catch them, and they have been observed scavenging carrion when fresh kills are not available. In some regions, wolves have learned to hunt in ways that take advantage of local conditions. Coastal wolves in British Columbia, for example, feed heavily on salmon during spawning runs. They wade into streams and snap up fish with surprising dexterity. In areas where livestock is present, wolves may occasionally prey on domestic animals, such as sheep or cattle, though this is relatively rare and usually occurs only when wild prey is scarce. This dietary flexibility is one of the reasons wolves have been able to survive in such diverse environments. Wolves communicate over long distances through howling. Perhaps no sound is more iconic, more haunting, or more evocative of the wild than the howl of a wolf. A wolf's howl can carry for miles across open terrain, echoing through valleys and forests. It is a sound that has inspired awe, fear, and wonder in humans for thousands of years. But why do wolves howl? The answer is complex, as howling serves multiple purposes. One of the primary functions of howling is communication between pack members. When a pack is spread out over a large area, howling allows individuals to stay in contact. A wolf separated from the group can howl to announce its location, and the pack can respond, guiding the lost member back. Howling also serves to strengthen social bonds. When wolves howl together, they often stand close to one another, sometimes touching, their voices blending into a chorus. This group howling is thought to reinforce pack unity and cohesion, much like a ritual or ceremony. Howling also serves as a territorial warning. In addition to keeping the pack together, howling functions as a warning to rival packs. By howling, a pack announces its presence and claims ownership of a territory. The message is clear: this land is ours. Stay away. Neighboring packs can hear these howls and adjust their movements accordingly, avoiding areas where they might encounter rivals. This system of auditory boundaries helps reduce direct confrontations, which can be deadly. When two packs do meet, the result is often violent. Wolves will fight fiercely to defend their territory. and these battles can result in serious injuries or death. Interestingly, wolves seem to adjust their howling behavior based on social context. A pack with a strong, established territory may howl frequently and boldly. A smaller, weaker pack, or one that is trespassing on another's land, may howl more cautiously, or not at all, to avoid drawing attention. This strategic use of howling suggests a level of awareness and decision-making that speaks to the wolf's intelligence. Each wolf's howl is unique. Just as human voices are distinct, so too are the howls of individual wolves. Researchers who study wolves can often identify specific individuals by the pitch, duration, and modulation of their howls. Wolves seem to recognize these individual differences as well. When a wolf howls, other pack members can likely tell who is calling, where they are, and perhaps even something about their emotional state. A howl might convey distress, loneliness, excitement, or simply a desire to connect. The structure of a wolf's howl is also fascinating. It typically begins on a low note and rises to a higher pitch, sometimes holding that note for several seconds before trailing off. Some wolves produce howls with a wavering, almost mournful quality, while others are clear and strong. Wolves rarely howl on the same note as their packmates. Instead, they adjust their pitch to harmonize, creating a complex, layered sound. This harmonization may make the pack sound larger than it actually is, potentially intimidating rivals. Wolves do not howl at the moon. Despite centuries of folklore and countless images of wolves silhouetted against a full moon with their heads thrown back in a howl, the truth is that wolves do not howl at the moon. They howl at any time of day or night, regardless of the moon's phase or position. The association between wolves and the moon likely arose because wolves are most active during the night, and a full moon provides enough light for humans to see and hear them. Additionally, the image of a wolf howling at the moon is romantically compelling, tapping into deep cultural symbols of wildness, mystery, and the untamed. In reality, wolves howl for practical reasons, related to communication and social bonding, not because of celestial bodies. However, it is true that wolves tend to howl more frequently during dawn and dusk, the crepuscular hours, when they are most active. On a quiet night, especially in wilderness areas far from human noise, the sound of a wolf pack howling together is one of the most stirring and beautiful experiences in nature. Wolves also communicate through barks, growls, and whines. While howling is the most famous wolf vocalization, it is far from the only one. Wolves have a rich vocal repertoire that includes barks, growls, whines, and a variety of other sounds. Barking is relatively rare in wolves, unlike in domestic dogs who bark frequently. When a wolf does bark, it is usually sharp and brief, often used as an alarm signal to alert the pack to potential danger. A wolf might bark when it spots an unfamiliar animal or hears a strange noise, essentially saying, "Pay attention, something is not right here." Growling, on the other hand, is a common sound, especially during feeding or when establishing dominance. A low, rumbling growl is a warning. Back off, or there will be consequences. Wolves use growls during disputes over food, when disciplining pups, or when warning an intruder. The intensity and pitch of the growl can vary, conveying different levels of threat. A deep, sustained growl is more serious than a brief, higher-pitched one. Whining and whimpering are sounds of submission, anxiety, or greeting. A subordinate wolf approaching a dominant pack member will often whine, lowering its body and tail in a display of deference. Pups whine frequently, especially when they are hungry, cold, or seeking attention from adults. Whining can also be a sound of excitement. When pack members reunite after a separation, they often engage in enthusiastic greeting ceremonies, accompanied by high-pitched whines, tail wagging, and face licking. Compared to domestic dogs, who bark frequently, when a wolf does bark, it is usually sharp and brief, often used as an alarm signal to alert the pack to potential danger. A wolf might bark when it spots an unfamiliar animal or hears a strange noise, essentially saying, "Pay attention, something is not right here." Growling, on the other hand, is a common sound, especially during feeding or when establishing dominance. A low, rumbling growl is a warning. Back off, or there will be consequences. Wolves use growls during disputes over food, when disciplining pups, or when warning an intruder. The intensity and pitch of the growl can vary, conveying different levels of threat. A deep, sustained growl is more serious than a brief, higher-pitched one. Whining and whimpering are sounds of submission, anxiety, or greeting. A subordinate wolf approaching a dominant pack member will often whine, lowering its body and tail in a display of deference. Pups whine frequently, especially when they are hungry, cold, or seeking attention from adults. Whining can also be a sound of excitement. When pack members reunite after a separation, they often engage in enthusiastic greeting ceremonies accompanied by high-pitched whines, tail wagging, and face licking. Wolves have extraordinary spatial memory and mental mapping abilities. One of the most impressive cognitive abilities of wolves is their spatial memory. Wolves must remember vast amounts of information about their territory, where prey animals tend to gather at different times of year, where water sources are located, which areas provide good cover for stalking, where dens have been used in the past, and where the boundaries of their territory lie. Research has shown that wolves possess sophisticated mental maps of their territories, allowing them to navigate efficiently across distances of dozens or even hundreds of miles. This spatial intelligence extends to their hunting strategies. Wolves have been observed using the terrain to their advantage, driving prey toward cliffs, riverbanks, or deep snow, where the animals will be easier to catch. They seem to understand how prey will react to certain pressures and adjust their approach accordingly. A pack might split up, with some wolves driving prey in a specific direction, while others position themselves in ambush along the likely escape route. This level of tactical planning requires not just memory, but also the ability to predict future events and coordinate complex group behaviors. Scientists studying wolves have documented numerous examples of this intelligence in action. In one famous case, researchers observed a wolf pack in Canada that regularly hunted bison. The pack had learned that bison would often retreat onto frozen lakes when threatened, apparently feeling safer on the open ice. The wolves adapted to this behavior by waiting until late winter when the ice was beginning to thin. They would then drive the bison onto the lake, where the heavy animals would sometimes break through the weakening ice and become trapped. The wolves, being lighter and more agile, could approach safely and make their kill. This strategy required an understanding of seasonal changes, ice conditions, bison behavior, and physics that is truly remarkable. Wolves demonstrate problem-solving abilities that surprise researchers. In experimental settings, wolves have shown they can solve complex problems, often outperforming domestic dogs in certain tasks. In one study, wolves and dogs were both presented with a puzzle box containing food. The box had a mechanism that required multiple steps to open. The wolves spent more time investigating the box, trying different approaches, and ultimately succeeded more often than the dogs. Interestingly, when the task became too difficult, dogs would often look to humans for help, while wolves persisted in trying to solve it themselves. This difference likely reflects the wolf's independence and self-reliance, traits that have been bred out of many domestic dogs through thousands of years of selection for human cooperation. Wolves have also demonstrated understanding of cause and effect relationships. In another study, wolves learned that pulling a rope would cause food to appear. They quickly figured out the connection and could even solve variations of the task where the setup was changed. When presented with a choice between two ropes, one connected to food and one not, wolves learned to discriminate and choose the correct rope. These abilities suggest that wolves have a sophisticated understanding of how their actions influence their environment. Wolf packs have been observed using cooperative strategies that suggest planning. Beyond individual intelligence, the collective intelligence of a wolf pack is extraordinary. Wolves coordinate their actions in ways that suggest they plan ahead and communicate complex intentions to one another. During hunts, different pack members take on different roles. Some wolves act as chasers, pursuing prey and wearing it down. Others position themselves to cut off escape routes or to deliver the killing bite once the prey is exhausted. These roles are not rigidly fixed. Wolves seem to adjust their behavior based on the situation and on what other pack members are doing. In Yellowstone, researchers have documented wolf packs using relay hunting strategies. When pursuing prey over long distances, wolves will take turns leading the chase, allowing individuals to rest while others maintain pressure on the prey. This tag-team approach conserves energy and increases the likelihood of success. The wolves seem to understand not just their own stamina levels, but also those of their packmates, stepping up when others tire. There are also reports of wolves using deception in their hunting. Some observers have described wolves feigning disinterest or even moving away from prey, only to circle back and approach from a different angle when the prey has relaxed its vigilance. While it is difficult to prove intentional deception, such behavior suggests a level of mental sophistication that goes beyond simple instinct. Wolves can recognize individual humans and remember them for years. Wolves have excellent memory, not just for places and strategies, but also for individuals, both within their own species and among others. Wolves that live near human-populated areas can learn to recognize individual people and vehicles. There are documented cases of wolves avoiding certain humans who have previously posed a threat while showing less wariness around others who have not. This discrimination suggests that wolves can remember faces, behaviors, and associated risks over extended periods. In captivity or in research settings where wolves have regular contact with specific humans, they form distinct relationships with different people. Some caretakers report that wolves they have known for years greet them warmly, while showing suspicion or indifference toward unfamiliar visitors. This ability to form long-term memories of individuals and to adjust behavior accordingly is another indicator of the wolf's cognitive complexity. The diversity of wolf subspecies reflects adaptation to varied environments. While we often speak of wolves as a single entity, the truth is that wolves are remarkably diverse. Scientists recognize multiple subspecies of gray wolf, each adapted to the specific challenges of its environment. The Arctic wolf, for instance, has evolved to survive in one of the harshest climates on Earth. These wolves are smaller than their southern relatives, with shorter ears, legs, and muzzles, adaptations that help reduce heat loss in the extreme cold. Their fur is thicker and often pure white, providing camouflage against the snow and ice. In contrast, the Mexican gray wolf, which historically inhabited the deserts and dry forests of the southwestern United States and Mexico, is much smaller, with a leaner build suited to the hot, arid environment. These wolves have adapted to a landscape where water is scarce and prey animals are often smaller and more dispersed. Mexican gray wolves are one of the most endangered subspecies, with only a small population remaining in the wild thanks to intensive recovery efforts. The eastern wolf, found in eastern Canada and historically in the northeastern United States, represents yet another variation. These wolves are intermediate in size and often show genetic mixing with coyotes in areas where their ranges overlap. The red wolf, another critically endangered subspecies native to the southeastern United States, is smaller still and has a unique evolutionary history that scientists are still working to fully understand. Each of these subspecies has its own adaptations, behaviors, and ecological role. Together, they demonstrate the remarkable ability of wolves to diversify and thrive in environments ranging from frozen tundra to temperate forests to desert scrublands. Wolves once had a distribution that spanned the entire northern hemisphere. Before human persecution reduced their range, wolves were one of the most widely distributed land mammals on Earth. They could be found throughout North America, from the Arctic coast of Alaska and Canada down to central Mexico. In Eurasia, wolves ranged from the British Isles across Europe, through the Middle East, and into Asia, including India, China, and Japan. They inhabited every type of terrestrial ecosystem except tropical rainforests and the most arid deserts. This extraordinary range is a testament to the wolf's adaptability. Few large predators have been able to colonize such diverse habitats. The success of wolves across these varied landscapes speaks to their intelligence, their social structure, and their ability to exploit a wide range of prey species. Whether hunting caribou in the Arctic, elk in the Rocky Mountains, deer in European forests, or wild boar in the mountains of Asia, wolves found ways to survive and thrive. The contraction of wolf range over the past few centuries represents one of the most dramatic changes in mammalian distribution in recent history. Today, wolves occupy perhaps 10% of their historic range. They are entirely absent from much of Western Europe, the British Isles, Japan, and most of the United States. The areas where they persist are primarily wilderness regions with low human population densities, places where there is still enough space and prey to support them. Different wolf populations have developed unique hunting traditions. Just as human cultures develop distinct traditions and practices, wolf populations in different regions have evolved unique hunting behaviors that are passed down through generations. These cultural traditions reflect the wolves' adaptability and their capacity for learning. In coastal regions of British Columbia, some wolf packs have become specialists in marine resources. They hunt seals, scavenge whale carcasses that wash ashore, and during salmon spawning runs, they wade into streams to catch fish. Pups in these packs learn these behaviors by watching and imitating their elders, and the knowledge is preserved as part of the pack's culture. In the boreal forests of Canada and Alaska, some wolf packs have specialized in hunting moose, one of the largest and most dangerous prey animals in North America. Moose can weigh over 1,000 pounds and are equipped with powerful hooves that can kill a wolf with a single kick. Successfully hunting moose requires specific techniques, including selecting the most vulnerable individuals, maintaining pursuit over long distances, and coordinating attacks. Packs that have mastered moose hunting pass these skills to their offspring, creating lineages of moose specialists. In Europe, wolves have adapted to hunting wild boar, which are aggressive and formidable prey. Boar hunting requires different tactics than hunting deer or elk, and European wolf packs have developed strategies specific to this prey. The diversity of these hunting cultures across wolf populations worldwide is a fascinating example of animal culture, demonstrating that wolves are not simply acting on instinct, but are learning, innovating, and transmitting knowledge across generations. Wolves have an incredible ability to adapt to changing conditions. One of the reasons wolves have survived for so long, despite intense persecution, is their extraordinary adaptability. When their primary prey species decline or disappear, wolves can switch to alternative food sources. When their habitat is altered, they can adjust their behavior. When faced with new threats, they can learn to avoid them. This flexibility is both behavioral and genetic, allowing wolf populations to evolve in response to environmental pressures. In areas where hunting pressure is intense, wolves have become more nocturnal and more secretive, avoiding humans during daylight hours. In regions where roads fragment their habitat, wolves have learned to use underpasses and culverts to cross safely, reducing vehicle strikes. When prey populations fluctuate, wolves adjust their pack sizes and territory sizes accordingly. During times of abundance, packs may grow larger and territories smaller. During scarcity, packs splinter and territories expand as wolves range more widely in search of food. This adaptability extends to their interactions with other predators as well. In areas where wolves coexist with bears, cougars, or other carnivores, they develop strategies for sharing the landscape and minimizing conflict. Sometimes this involves temporal separation, with different predators being active at different times of day. Sometimes it involves spatial separation, with each species using different parts of the habitat. These complex relationships demonstrate the wolf's ability to navigate a social landscape that includes not just other wolves, but a whole community of competitors and potential threats. Wolves can survive for extended periods without food. Life in the wild is unpredictable, and wolves must be able to endure long periods without food. After a successful hunt, a wolf may gorge itself, consuming up to 20 pounds of meat in a single feeding. This feast allows the wolf to build up energy reserves in the form of fat, which can sustain it through lean times. Studies have shown that wolves can survive for up to 2 weeks without eating, though they become progressively weaker and more desperate as starvation sets in. During extended periods without food, wolves lose body weight rapidly. A large male might lose 15 or 20 pounds in just a week or two of famine. The body begins to break down fat reserves first, then muscle tissue. Weakened wolves are less effective hunters, creating a dangerous cycle that can lead to the collapse of a pack if conditions do not improve. Pups and elderly wolves are especially vulnerable during these times, as they have fewer reserves to draw upon. However, wolves are resilient. Once they make a successful kill, they can recover quickly, regaining lost weight and strength within days. This boom-and-bust lifestyle is typical of apex predators in environments where prey availability fluctuates seasonally or unpredictably. The wolf's physiology is well adapted to this pattern, with efficient metabolism and the ability to rapidly store and mobilize energy. Wolves experience seasonal changes in their social behavior. The social dynamics of a wolf pack change with the seasons, reflecting the annual cycle of reproduction, pup rearing, and survival. Winter is the time of greatest cooperation. The pack hunts together, traveling long distances in search of prey. During this season, pack bonds are strong, and hierarchy is most clearly defined. Winter is also mating season. The breeding pair mates in late winter, usually in February or March, while other pack members remain reproductively suppressed through a combination of behavioral and physiological mechanisms. Spring brings the birth of pups and a shift in pack focus. The denning site becomes the center of activity. The alpha female remains at the den with her newborns, while the rest of the pack hunts and brings back food. This period is one of intense cooperation, with all pack members contributing to the survival of the pups. Even wolves that are not directly related to the pups participate in their care, reflecting the strength of pack bonds. Summer is a time of abundance. Prey animals are healthy and widespread, and the pups are growing rapidly. The pack may spend less time together as a cohesive unit, with individuals or small groups ranging more widely. Play becomes a central activity, especially among the pups and younger wolves. Social bonds are reinforced through these playful interactions, which help maintain pack cohesion, even when members are more dispersed. Autumn is a transitional period. The pups are now large enough to travel with the pack, and the group begins to coalesce again. The focus shifts back to hunting as the pack prepares for the lean months of winter. This is also the time when some young wolves may disperse, leaving their birth pack to seek mates and territories of their own. The cycle then repeats, with each season bringing its own challenges and adaptations. Wolves have complex relationships with other predators. Wolves do not exist in isolation. They are part of a community of predators, each competing for resources and space. The relationships between wolves and other carnivores are complex and can range from competitive to cooperative, depending on circumstances. One of the most studied relationships is between wolves and bears, particularly grizzly bears in North America. Grizzlies and wolves often compete for the same prey, and they also interact directly at kill sites. Grizzlies are larger and more powerful than wolves, and a single bear can drive an entire wolf pack away from a fresh kill. Wolves, in turn, may harass bears, darting in and out, trying to distract the bear long enough to steal a mouthful of meat. Despite this competition, there is also a degree of mutual benefit. Bears often scavenge wolf kills, gaining access to food they might not have obtained on their own. Wolves, by keeping prey populations in check and providing carrion, indirectly support bear populations. The relationship between wolves and coyotes is more overtly competitive and often hostile. Wolves kill coyotes when they encounter them, viewing them as competitors for food. Coyote populations typically decline in areas where wolves are present, and coyotes often shift their behavior, becoming more nocturnal and avoiding areas of high wolf activity. Interestingly, this can benefit smaller predators like foxes and raptors, which face less competition from coyotes when wolves are around. Wolves and cougars also coexist in some regions, particularly in the mountainous west. These two apex predators generally avoid direct conflict, as both are formidable, and neither benefits from a fight. They may partition resources by focusing on different prey species, or by using the landscape at different times. Cougars are more solitary and more dependent on stealth, while wolves rely on endurance and pack coordination. This difference in hunting style allows them to coexist, though not without occasional tension. Wolves have surprising interactions with ravens. One of the most fascinating interspecies relationships involving wolves is their association with ravens. Ravens and wolves have a long history together, and in many northern ecosystems, they are frequently found in close proximity. Ravens often follow wolf packs, watching from above as the wolves hunt. When a kill is made, ravens descend to feed on the scraps, taking advantage of the food that wolves provide. But the relationship goes beyond simple scavenging. Ravens have been observed leading wolves to potential prey or to carrion that the birds have located. It is unclear whether this behavior is intentional or simply a byproduct of ravens being noisy and conspicuous when they find food, but the result is the same. Wolves benefit from the raven's keen eyesight and aerial perspective. In return, ravens benefit from the wolf's hunting prowess and their ability to open large carcasses that ravens could not access on their own. There is also a playful aspect to the wolf-raven relationship. Ravens have been seen engaging in what appears to be play with wolves, diving at them, pulling their tails, and generally provoking reactions. Wolves sometimes respond to these antics, lunging playfully at the birds, or watching them with what seems like curiosity. This behavior serves no obvious survival purpose, but suggests a level of social engagement that transcends simple mutualism. Wolves are affected by diseases and parasites like all wild animals. Despite their strength and resilience, wolves are vulnerable to a variety of diseases and parasites. In some regions, mange, caused by parasitic mites, is a significant problem. Mange causes intense itching, hair loss, and thickening of the skin. Severely affected wolves may lose most of their fur, leaving them vulnerable to cold and reducing their ability to hunt. Mange outbreaks can devastate wolf populations, particularly in areas where wolves are already stressed by other factors. Canine distemper and parvovirus are viral diseases that affect wolves, particularly pups. These diseases can spread rapidly through a pack, causing high mortality. Rabies, though less common in wolves than in some other carnivores, is another serious threat. Infected wolves may exhibit unusual behavior, such as loss of fear of humans, and the disease is always fatal once symptoms appear. Wolves also host a variety of internal parasites, including tapeworms, roundworms, and flukes. One tapeworm species, Echinococcus, can be transmitted to humans through contact with wolf feces, causing a serious condition called hydatid disease. While wolves generally tolerate low levels of parasitism without significant health effects, heavy infestations can weaken individuals, making them more vulnerable to starvation and predation. Understanding the diseases and parasites that affect wolves is important for conservation. Wildlife managers monitor wolf populations for signs of disease outbreaks and sometimes intervene to prevent the spread of particularly deadly pathogens. Vaccination programs have been considered in some areas, though the logistics of vaccinating wild wolves are challenging. Wolves have been the subject of reintroduction programs worldwide. The success of the Yellowstone reintroduction inspired similar efforts in other parts of the world. In Scotland, there is ongoing discussion about reintroducing wolves to help control deer populations and restore native ecosystems. Red deer in Scotland have no natural predators, and their populations have exploded, leading to overgrazing and preventing forest regeneration. Proponents of wolf reintroduction argue that bringing back this apex predator could restore balance, much as it did in Yellowstone. In Europe, wolves have naturally recolonized many areas where they were previously extinct, including parts of Germany, France, and Italy. These wolves dispersed from remnant populations in Eastern Europe and the Iberian Peninsula, traveling hundreds of miles to establish new territories. The return of wolves to Western Europe has been met with mixed reactions. Some celebrate it as a conservation triumph, while others, particularly farmers and ranchers, express concern about livestock predation and human safety. In the southwestern United States, efforts to restore the Mexican gray wolf have been ongoing for decades. This subspecies was driven to the brink of extinction in the wild, with the last individuals captured in the 1970s for captive breeding. Reintroduction began in the late 1990s, and today, a small population of Mexican wolves survives in Arizona and New Mexico. The program faces significant challenges, including illegal killings, limited genetic diversity, and political opposition, but it represents a crucial effort to save one of the most endangered wolf subspecies. Genetic studies have revealed the complex evolutionary history of wolves. Modern genetic techniques have revolutionized our understanding of wolf evolution and diversity. DNA analysis has shown that all domestic dogs descended from a now extinct population of wolves that lived tens of thousands of years ago. The exact timing and location of domestication are still debated, but genetic evidence suggests it may have occurred in multiple places independently. Genetic studies have also revealed that some wolf populations are more distinct than previously thought. The red wolf, for example, has a unique genetic signature that distinguishes it from both gray wolves and coyotes, though it also shows evidence of hybridization with both species. This mixing has raised questions about how to define and conserve the red wolf, with some arguing it is a distinct species and others suggesting it is a hybrid. In the Great Lakes region, researchers have discovered that some wolves carry genetic material from both gray wolves and eastern wolves, a testament to the complex history of wolf populations in that area. Understanding these genetic relationships is important for conservation, as it helps identify which populations are most in need of protection and how to manage breeding programs to maintain genetic diversity. Wolves face the challenge of hybridization with domestic dogs and coyotes. One emerging conservation concern is hybridization between wolves and other canids. In some regions, wolves mate with domestic dogs or coyotes, producing hybrid offspring. This can occur when wolf populations are very small, and finding a mate of the same species is difficult. It can also happen in areas where wolves, dogs, and coyotes live in close proximity. Hybridization can threaten the genetic integrity of wolf populations. If hybrids breed back into the wolf population, the unique genetic characteristics that define wolves may be diluted or lost. This is a particular concern for rare subspecies like the red wolf and the Ethiopian wolf, where small population sizes increase the risk of hybridization. However, hybridization is not always a negative phenomenon. In some cases, it may provide genetic diversity that helps populations adapt to changing conditions. The challenge for conservationists is to determine when hybridization poses a real threat and when it is simply a natural part of evolutionary processes. Managing this issue requires careful monitoring, genetic testing, and sometimes intervention to prevent or limit hybrid breeding. Wolves exhibit behaviors that suggest a sense of fairness and cooperation. Recent research into wolf behavior has uncovered evidence of what might be called a sense of fairness. In studies where wolves were given food rewards for performing tasks, individuals showed sensitivity to inequity. If one wolf received a better reward than another for the same effort, the wolf that received the lesser reward often refused to continue participating. This behavior, known as inequity aversion, suggests that wolves have a sense of fairness and that they expect cooperation to be reciprocal. This finding has important implications for our understanding of social behavior in animals. It suggests that cooperation in wolf packs is not just driven by kinship or dominance, but also by expectations of fair treatment. Wolves that contribute to the pack's success expect to share in the benefits, and when that expectation is violated, they may withdraw their cooperation. This kind of social contract, where individuals monitor each other's contributions and rewards, is thought to be a foundation for complex social systems in humans, and may have deep evolutionary roots in species like wolves. Wolves have remarkable hearing that helps them detect prey from great distances. We have already touched on the wolf's acute hearing, but it is worth exploring this sense in greater detail. Wolves can hear sounds at frequencies up to 45 kHz, well beyond the range of human hearing, which tops out around 20 kHz. This ability allows them to detect the ultrasonic vocalizations of small prey animals like rodents, which communicate at high frequencies that we cannot hear. The structure of a wolf's ears enhances their hearing. The large, erect ears can rotate independently, allowing a wolf to pinpoint the exact location of a sound. This directional hearing is crucial for detecting prey hidden in dense vegetation or beneath snow. Wolves have been observed stopping mid-stride, tilting their heads, and then pouncing on a spot where a vole or mouse is moving beneath the snowpack, guided entirely by sound. In addition to detecting prey, wolves use their hearing to monitor their environment for threats, They can hear the approach of other predators, the movements of potential prey herds, and the vocalizations of their own pack members from miles away. This auditory awareness is a key component of their survival toolkit, complementing their senses of smell and sight to create a comprehensive picture of their surroundings. The future of wolf conservation depends on public support and political will. Ultimately, the survival of wolves in the modern world depends not on biology alone, but on human attitudes and decisions. Wolves can thrive biologically in many environments, but they can only persist where humans allow them to. This makes wolf conservation as much a social and political issue as an ecological one. Building public support for wolves requires education and outreach. Many of the fears and misconceptions surrounding wolves are based on outdated information or cultural myths. When people learn the truth about wolf behavior, their ecological importance, and the rarity of human-wolf conflicts, attitudes often shift. Programs that bring people into contact with wolves, whether through wildlife viewing opportunities, educational presentations, or media coverage, can help foster appreciation and support. Political will is also essential. Conservation laws must be enforced, habitat must be protected, and funding must be allocated for research and management. In many regions, the fate of wolves hangs in the balance of political debates, with wildlife policies subject to changing administrations and shifting public opinion. Advocacy by conservation organizations, scientists, and concerned citizens plays a crucial role in ensuring that wolves remain a priority. Wolves remind us of the wildness that still exists in the world. In a world that often feels tamed and controlled, wolves represent something untamed. They are a link to a time when humans were not the dominant force on the landscape, when wild predators roamed freely, and when nature operated according to its own rhythms. The presence of wolves in an ecosystem is a sign of health and wholeness, an indication that the natural processes that have shaped life for millions of years are still functioning. For many people, knowing that wolves exist, that they are out there living their lives in the wild places, adds meaning and richness to the world. It is a reminder that we share this planet with other intelligent, social, feeling beings, and that we have a responsibility to make room for them. The howl of a wolf, whether heard in person or imagined, stirs something deep within us, a recognition of our own connection to the wild. Wolves teach us about the importance of family and loyalty. In observing wolves, we see reflected many of the values that humans hold dear. The devotion of wolf parents to their pups, the cooperation among siblings, the care given to injured or elderly pack members. All of these behaviors resonate with our own understanding of family and loyalty. Wolves do not abandon their own. They work together, support each other, and face challenges as a unified group. This emphasis on family is not sentimental. It is essential to survival. A lone wolf faces enormous difficulties. It must hunt alone, defend itself alone, and find shelter alone. The odds of survival are far lower than for a wolf within a pack. But within the pack, each individual benefits from the strength, skills, and vigilance of others. The pack is greater than the sum of its parts, a principle that applies to wolves and to many social species, including humans. Watching a wolf pack interact, seeing the gentle nuzzles between pack members, the playful romps, the coordinated hunts, and the shared meals, one cannot help but feel a sense of kinship. We, too, are social animals. We, too, depend on cooperation and trust. The wolf's life is a reminder that we are not so different from other creatures, that the bonds of family and community are ancient and universal. Wolves have inspired countless works of art, literature, and film. Throughout human history, wolves have captured our imagination, appearing in art, stories, and songs across cultures and centuries. In ancient cave paintings, wolves are depicted alongside other animals that early humans hunted and revered. In Native American art, wolves are symbols of strength, loyalty, and spiritual power. In medieval European manuscripts, wolves appear in the margins, sometimes as fearsome beasts, sometimes as noble creatures. Literature is rich with wolf imagery, from the dire wolves of fantasy novels to the wolves of classic fairy tales. These animals have played countless roles in our storytelling traditions. Jack London's White Fang and The Call of the Wild explore the boundary between wildness and domestication, using wolf-dog characters to examine themes of freedom, survival, and belonging. Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book features wolves as the adoptive family of the human child Mowgli, portraying them as wise and protective. In modern times, wolves have become icons of wilderness conservation. Documentaries and nature films showcasing wolf behavior have brought these animals into millions of homes, fostering appreciation and understanding. Films like Never Cry Wolf and The Journey of Natty Gan present wolves in sympathetic and realistic ways, challenging the old stereotypes. Wildlife photographers have captured stunning images of wolves in their natural habitats, images that convey both the beauty and the dignity of these animals. The spiritual and symbolic significance of wolves is profound in many cultures. Beyond art and literature, wolves hold deep spiritual significance for many indigenous peoples. Among the tribes of the Pacific Northwest, wolves are clan animals, representing specific family lineages and carrying important cultural meanings. Wolf dances and ceremonies honor the animal's spirit and teach lessons about cooperation, respect, and the interconnectedness of all life. In Mongolian and Turkic traditions, wolves are revered as ancestors and symbols of strength and cunning. The legend of the blue wolf is foundational to Mongol identity, telling of a wolf who fathered the Mongol people. This myth reflects a deep respect for wolves and an acknowledgement of kinship with the natural world. In contrast, European folklore often cast wolves in a darker light, associating them with danger, chaos, and evil. Werewolf legends, in which humans transform into wolves and commit terrible acts, reflect deep-seated fears of the wild and the untamed aspects of human nature. These contrasting symbolic meanings show how culture shapes our perceptions of animals, and how the same creature can embody vastly different ideas depending on context. Today, as we work to restore wolf populations and repair ecosystems, there is an opportunity to reshape the cultural narrative around wolves. By emphasizing their ecological importance, their intelligence, and their complex social lives, we can move beyond fear and superstition toward a more nuanced and respectful understanding. Wolves are indicators of ecosystem health. Ecologists often use the presence of wolves as an indicator of ecosystem health. Because wolves require large territories, abundant prey, and relatively intact habitats, their presence suggests that an ecosystem is functioning well. Conversely, the absence of wolves often indicates degradation, whether from habitat loss, prey depletion, or human persecution. This makes wolves valuable not just for their own sake, but as umbrella species. Protecting wolves means protecting the vast landscapes they inhabit and all the other species that share those landscapes. By conserving wolf habitat, we also conserve habitat for elk, deer, beavers, birds, fish, and countless other organisms. Efforts to maintain connectivity between wolf populations, allowing for dispersal and genetic exchange, also benefit other wide-ranging species, like bears, cougars, and wolverines. Monitoring wolf populations provides scientists with valuable data about the health of ecosystems. Changes in wolf numbers, pack sizes, or distribution can signal shifts in prey populations, habitat quality, or human impacts. This information helps guide management decisions and conservation strategies, making wolves not just participants in ecosystems but also teachers, offering insights into how nature works. The economic value of wolves is increasingly recognized. Beyond their ecological role, wolves have economic value, particularly through ecotourism. In Yellowstone, wolf watching has become a major draw for visitors. Thousands of people travel to the park each year, hoping to see wolves in the wild. This tourism generates millions of dollars in revenue for local communities, supporting hotels, restaurants, guide services, and other businesses. Studies have estimated that the economic benefit of wolves to the Greater Yellowstone region is substantial, far outweighing the costs associated with livestock losses. Similar patterns are emerging in other regions where wolves have returned or where wolf-focused tourism is being developed. In parts of Europe, wolf tracking and wildlife viewing tours are growing in popularity. In Canada, Indigenous communities are exploring opportunities to share their traditional knowledge of wolves with visitors, creating cultural and educational tourism experiences that benefit both people and wildlife. This economic argument for wolf conservation is powerful because it demonstrates that wolves can have value beyond the intangible benefits of biodiversity and ecosystem health. When local communities see direct financial benefits from wolf presence, support for conservation often increases. It shifts the narrative from wolves as a burden to wolves as an asset. Technological advances are improving our ability to study and protect wolves. Modern technology has revolutionized wolf research and conservation. GPS collars allow scientists to track individual wolves in real time, mapping their movements, identifying their territories, and understanding their behavior in unprecedented detail. This technology has revealed astonishing facts about wolf dispersal, with some individuals traveling over 1,000 miles in search of new territories. Camera traps provide non-invasive ways to monitor wolf populations, capturing images of individuals and packs without disturbing them. Genetic analysis of scat and hair samples allows researchers to identify individuals, assess population health, and detect hybridization without needing to capture the animals. Drones are being explored as tools for locating wolf dens and monitoring packs from a distance. These technologies also aid in managing human-wolf conflicts. Early warning systems can alert ranchers when wolves are near their livestock, allowing them to take preventive measures. Tracking data can help identify areas of high conflict and guide decisions about where to focus management efforts. In the future, advances in remote sensing, artificial intelligence, and data analysis may provide even more powerful tools for understanding and protecting wolves. Education is the key to changing perceptions about wolves. Perhaps the most important tool in wolf conservation is education. Changing long-held beliefs and dispelling myths requires reaching people with accurate information presented in compelling ways. Schools, nature centers, museums, and media all play a role in educating the public about wolves. Programs that bring wolves into classrooms, whether through presentations, virtual experiences, or educational materials, help young people develop an appreciation for these animals. Wildlife agencies and conservation organizations produce documentaries, books, and online content that showcase wolf behavior and ecology. Social media platforms allow for rapid sharing of wolf-related news and imagery. building communities of people who care about wolves. Face-to-face encounters, when possible, can be transformative. Visiting a wolf sanctuary, seeing wolves in the wild, or hearing them howl creates a connection that facts alone cannot achieve. These experiences often inspire lifelong passion for wildlife conservation and a willingness to support policies that protect wolves and their habitats. Wolves face an uncertain future, but also unprecedented opportunity. As we look ahead, the future of wolves is both challenging and hopeful. Climate change, habitat loss, and human population growth will continue to pressure wolf populations. Political climates will shift, sometimes favoring conservation and sometimes not. New diseases and unforeseen challenges will emerge. But there are also reasons for optimism. Wolf populations are recovering in many areas. Public attitudes toward wolves are gradually becoming more positive, especially among younger generations. Scientific understanding of wolf ecology and the tools available for conservation are better than ever. International cooperation on wildlife conservation is growing, and there is increasing recognition of the importance of apex predators in maintaining healthy ecosystems. The choices we make in the coming decades will determine whether wolves continue their recovery or face new declines. These choices are not just about wolves. They are about what kind of world we want to live in, whether we value wildness and biodiversity, and whether we are willing to share space with other species. Every wolf pack is a story of survival, resilience, and hope. Each wolf pack that exists today is the result of countless challenges overcome. They are descendants of ancestors who survived ice ages, who evaded human hunters, who found enough food to raise pups through harsh winters, who defended territories against rivals, and who adapted to ever-changing landscapes. Every pack alive today carries within it the legacy of survival against the odds. These packs continue to face challenges every day. They must find food, avoid dangers, raise the next generation, and maintain their place in ecosystems that are often fragmented and degraded. Yet they persist. They howl into the night. They hunt across vast landscapes. They care for their young, and they continue the ancient rhythms of wolf life that have existed for hundreds of thousands of years. There is something profoundly hopeful about this persistence. It reminds us that nature is resilient, that even when pushed to the brink, life finds a way to endure. The return of wolves to Yellowstone, the natural recolonization of wolves in Europe, the slow recovery of Mexican wolves in the Southwest, all of these are stories of resilience and renewal. Wolves call us to be better stewards of the earth. The story of wolves is ultimately a story about our relationship with nature. For centuries, we viewed nature as something to be conquered and controlled, and wolves suffered as a result. But we have the capacity to change, to recognize our mistakes, and chart a different course. The recovery of wolf populations in recent decades is evidence of this capacity. Wolves challenge us to think beyond our immediate needs and desires, to consider the long-term health of ecosystems, and to make space for other species. They remind us that we are part of a larger community of life, not separate from it. Protecting wolves means protecting wild places, clean water, healthy forests, and the intricate web of relationships that sustains all life, including our own. In caring for wolves, we are caring for ourselves. The same landscapes that support wolf packs provide us with resources, recreation, and spiritual renewal. The same ecosystems that function properly with apex predators in place are the ecosystems that regulate climate, filter water, and produce the oxygen we breathe. The fate of wolves and the fate of humanity are intertwined. The howl of a wolf is a call to remember who we are. When you hear a wolf howl, whether in the wild or in a recording, something stirs within you. It is a sound that reaches back through millennia, connecting us to our ancestors who lived closer to the land and to the wild. It is a sound that reminds us of the mystery and beauty of the natural world, of forces larger than ourselves, of rhythms older than civilization. That howl is a call to remember that we evolved alongside wolves, that they shaped our development as much as we shaped theirs. To remember that the wild is not something distant and separate, but something that lives within us and around us. To remember that we have a responsibility to the other creatures with whom we share this planet. In saving wolves, we are saving something essential about ourselves. We are preserving our connection to the wild, our sense of wonder, and our capacity for compassion and coexistence. We are choosing a world that is richer, more diverse, and more alive. As you rest now, imagine the world of the wolf. Picture yourself standing in a clearing in a vast forest. The sun has set, and twilight is deepening into night. The air is cool against your skin, and the first stars are beginning to appear overhead. Somewhere in the distance, you hear it, a single howl, clear and haunting, rising into the darkening sky. You close your eyes and listen. The howl is joined by another, and then another, until a chorus of voices fills the forest. The sound is ancient and wild, yet it feels strangely comforting, as though you are being welcomed into a community that has existed for longer than you can imagine. In your mind's eye, you see them. A pack of wolves gathered on a rocky outcrop, their heads tilted back, their voices blending in perfect harmony. They are singing to each other, strengthening their bonds, declaring their presence, celebrating their existence. Around them, the forest is alive with the sounds of night. Owls call, crickets chirp. A stream murmurs softly in the distance. The wolves finish their song and begin to move, slipping down from the rocks and into the shadows of the trees. They move with grace and purpose. A family on a journey through their wild home. You watch them go, feeling a sense of peace wash over you, knowing that somewhere out there, the wolves are still running free, still howling to the moon, still living the ancient life that connects us all to the wild heart of the earth. Let this image carry you gently into sleep. Feel the peace of the forest settling over you. Hear the distant howl echoing in your memory. Know that the wolves are out there, living their lives, raising their pups, hunting beneath the stars. They are part of a world that is larger and more beautiful than we can fully comprehend. A world that continues its ancient rhythms, whether we are watching or not. As your breathing slows and deepens, as your body relaxes and your mind grows quiet, let yourself drift into that world. Let yourself become part of the forest, part of the night, part of the great web of life that connects all living things. You are safe, you are held, you are home. The wolves howl softly in the distance, a lullaby for the wild at heart. Let their song carry you now, gently, peacefully, into the deep and restful sleep you deserve. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and drift away into dreams where you run alongside them, free and wild, beneath an endless sky filled with stars. Good night, dear listener. May your dreams be filled with wonder, and may you wake refreshed, carrying with you the spirit of the wolf, a reminder of the wildness that lives within us all.